Hello everyone, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV and the Irish Abroad Show. It's myself, Paul Tierney, and I'm joined by Ger Brown today with another bumper week ahead of this mini international break coming up this week. Ger, how are we?
All good. It's been in good form since just after we finished our last broadcast last Thursday with Liverpool beating Arsenal to qualify for the League Cup final or the EFL Cup final, whatever the hell it's called now. And then obviously that good win against Crystal Palace on Sunday. So the title race not over just yet. But besides that, Paul, I'm keeping well now. I can't complain. And looking forward to an interesting weekend. It's an international break this weekend, but not quite like we know. We still got the championship this weekend, so still some really good overall football to look forward to over the next couple of days.
Yeah, definitely the Scottish League as well, obviously, because they took their winter break early too. Yeah, you mentioned Liverpool gone through to the final. Listen, in all seriousness, at least you will give Chelsea a game because I don't think we would, to be honest. It'd be fairly similar to them against Tottenham. But yeah, fair play. Deserved the win. We're much better on the night. And sure, Arsenal haven't scored a goal since that game when they nearly beat City. They didn't beat City, they nearly beat City. But anyway, we move on into the Premier League. And another positive performance from Adam Ida. He played the full 90 minutes and he grabbed an assist for the third goal as Norwich beat Watford 3-0 at Vicarage Road. I don't know if you saw much of this, Jer. I only saw the highlights and the first 10 minutes. Norwich look a lot stronger when they play their four strikers anyway, that's for sure.
Certainly do, yeah. I had a quiet night in last Friday night and I sat down to watch this basement battle. Massive win for Norwich. Everyone always saying, oh, well, Norwich, they're definitely going to go down. They're now out of the bottom three. It's amazing what back-to-back wins can do. You know, they got the initial bounce under Dean Smith. Looked like they're going to make a fight of it. Then they lost 6 in a row and looked like, right, they're going back to where they were start of the season, making up the numbers. But they've got a turn. They've got really good going. They were quite poor the first half. Adam never really got into the game at all, especially as the half wore on. The more and more Watford kind of came out of their shell and looked more likely. But 2 goals. The first one, wonderful finish by Josh Sargent, kind of following on from Adam Meada the previous week, getting his maiden Premier League goal. His second goal was a bullet of a header. And then Adam Meada, as you mentioned, getting the assist for the third goal. I actually thought at first when I watched it, I thought it just took a deflection and went in. I think, oh, the might credit him with the goal. It might have been on target, but no, it clearly was pulled across the box. Can't remember who the Watford defender was that clearly diverted into his own goal. Yeah, Norfolk Live saying he had maybe a bit more of a quieter game, just giving them 6 out of 10. But I think the big thing now for Adam is, like, I'm not saying he's anything to do with being the sole reason why Norwich are turning things around, but the old saying is you don't change a winning team. He's getting a run of games now at the moment, getting a lot of minutes, and it's coincided with Norwich doing a pick up in form. And when they have their next game back after this period off, which is at home against Crystal Palace, like, I'd be shocked if he's not starting. So it's brilliant. He's now making contribution games, but the fact that Norwich are also now winning, like, Dean Smith isn't going to be in a situation of, like, it's a case of if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think as well. I always thought, even when Norwich were up the last time, you think at the start of the season, they were going at teams and they were scoring goals. They beat Man City. They scored 3 that day. They're better when they're going at teams. And I think Daniel Farke just kind of, because they done so poorly towards the end of the season, they did get relegated. He decided to change his tactics. And look, maybe it worked in the Championship, but I think in the Premier League, you're just better off going for it unless you know you're going to get picked off. But yeah, look, they look a lot better. Adam looks more confident as well, more attacking options. And sure, look, they've scored 6 goals in their last 4 games, which, I mean, they hadn't scored since November before that. So you got to mention that too. Obviously, they won in the FA Cup as well. They beat Charlton 1-0, so they're in the next round of that. So plenty of opportunities for Adam coming up. And obviously with those 2 friendlies that were announced this week for Ireland, he'll be hoping to definitely get a cap against the likes of Belgium anyway, and Lithuania too, no offence to them. But Belgium game could be a very good one to play against the likes of those players.
They've nearly actually equaled the amount of goals they scored in their previous, I'm not sure, I think it would be like 19, 20 games they played in the last 2 games. Like, to score 5 goals in them 2 matches. They only scored 8 prior to that. Like, so they've really kind of picked up. Just while there's always a positive, maybe at the other end of things, there's always kind of something negative to balance it out. And then from another point of view, was Andrew Omobamdele, who hasn't been involved in matchday squads over the last couple of weeks because of a lower back injury. You know, the same now, the opposite kind of applies to him with Adam Meada. It's going to be very hard for him now to break into a team because as they're not conceding as many goals. They kept a clean sheet the other night. If Andrew is not fit for the next game against Crystal Palace, to keep another clean sheet. It could be difficult for him to force his way back in. But look, he's a little bit further behind in terms of his development. He's 2 or 3 years younger than Alameda, and he's already shown good glimpses. So I don't think there's any need to worry and kind of think like, he needs to move away from Norwich or anything else like that. I think there's no worries there. I think overall, thinking the bigger picture with Andrew, as we've even seen in the green shirt as well of Ireland.
Yeah, I think when he came in a couple of times this season, obviously he got that goal against Leeds. Jamie Redknapp was slagging him off because he was against Rafinha. I mean, Rafinha would destroy most defenders in the Premier League. I thought he'd done all right, to be honest. I think, look, that's just Jamie Redknapp looking for something to talk about. He never has much to say anyway. But yeah, whenever I saw him playing, he only played a few times. He done well. He was brilliant for Ireland in a lot of those games as well, particularly the Serbia and the Portugal one as well. So they're the two games you want to be performing in. You want to perform in every game, but they're the two games you really want the performance in. And yeah, I mean, maybe he is a bit further behind Adam, but look, he's going to get opportunities. Norwich are going to be thereabouts for relegation. So if they do go down, he'll probably get more opportunities next season. If they stay up, he'll still get opportunities because they're not going to go out and buy a world-class centre-half, or they're not going to go out and buy 2 or 3. They might buy one, a couple might leave, you never know. So there's definitely opportunities there for him. And I think Dean Smith has shown he wants to give lads opportunities there as well. Maybe his hand was kind of forced because of COVID as well. But yeah, look, hopefully it continues for both of them, and hopefully Andrew is back sooner rather than later. One other bit of information from the Premier League on the weekend was Kieran Clark. He was back. I think he might have been back from injury and suspension. He got 21 minutes in Newcastle's win over Leeds, helped them win over Leeds. They got a late goal there to win 1-0, only their second win of the season. And good to see Kieran back anyway, Ger.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a case of more returning from injury than suspension. I think it was the last day in November he picked up that red card against Norwich early doors. They've definitely played more than 3 matches since. Massive win for Newcastle, because Leeds have been a team that, despite injuries, COVID, everything, they've been grinding out some impressive results over the last kind of couple of weeks, carrying serious momentum. Didn't see this game, but I heard by all accounts Leeds battered them in the first half. Probably should have been out of sight by half time, or certainly in front, and they got fortunate with the goal, with a goalkeeping mistake. John Joe Shelby, obviously the player that profited. The Shields Gazette doesn't really kind of give much away on his performances. Strange enough, none of these media outlets in Newcastle really give much detail on their players' ratings. Just saying, he gave them 6 out of 10, helped Newcastle see out their first away clean sheet of the season with minimum fuss. And like I said, now they head into the winter break in a good place with good morale. And they've got a very, very winnable game now up next time around. I think they host Everton and then that midweek slot. And I didn't think their next game, even after that, is Aston Villa home and then West Ham away. So that's definitely probably at the moment looking the most likely to kind of keep going. You could say worrying as well. No sign of Jeff Hendrick featuring at all. I think he's been, 2 Premier League appearances this season. He's been linked with a move to their neighbours in the Championship, Middlesbrough, to join Aaron Connolly, I suppose, to grow an Irish contingent there. What do you kind of think of that one as well? It's getting to the stage like where we've seen with Jeff, he's thrived under Stephen Kenny, but that's what, like, coming into Ireland camps with no match sharpness, no match fitness. If he can now get a loan move, he's playing week in, week out, heading into some games against Belgium and Lithuania. While I know they're only friendlies, but for the progression and development of this Irish team, it'd be massive. And Jeff is one of them experienced heads, and he's someone that we need really at his top game.
Yeah, I think he should be looking to go on loan and maybe move on in the summer as well. Look, Newcastle, if they stay up, well, if they go down as well, they're just going to buy tons of players. That's just inevitable. That's going to happen. They're being linked with so many already. Jeff's not going to be involved there, unfortunately. A loan move to a championship side, chasing the playoffs, would probably be a good thing. It would help him get back going. Middlesbrough, who've played well of late as well, are just on the cusp of the playoffs as well. Yeah, it'd be a good move, and it'd be great for Ireland as well, because we know what he's capable of. He has lots of ability, but it's just doing it consistently. And if he gets game time with clubs, then that'll happen. No problem at all. That's all I have from the Premier League. Jared, you have anything to add to that, maybe? Or I think
just everything. One last bit of news as well there from Sunday. Your arch nemesis Tottenham, they got defeated by Chelsea for the 3rd time this month. This time in the league, losing 2-0 away at Stamford Bridge. Matt Doherty played every second of this game for Tottenham. So he's kind of forced his way back in. It seemed a couple of weeks ago that a move away from North London seemed inevitable, but he's seen a lot of game time over the last couple of weeks. And as I said, he played the full 90 minutes in this one. He got a 5 out of 10 rating from the inews.co.uk. This kind of backs up my point from what I was saying last week about Tottenham. Like, I'm still not fully kind of convinced by them. Like, everyone's on about the improvement on the content, but it's a bit like Arsenal, that good run that they had there in the autumn into winter. Like, they're just beating teams you expect them to be. As I named up last week, 3 of their 5 wins under Conte, or 3 of the 6 now after that Leicester win last week, have been against teams in the bottom 5 of the table. Fair enough, against Liverpool, they gave an unbelievable account of themselves, and arguably could have won that game. But as I mentioned, they've played Chelsea, 3 times this month. Like, this is where they should be gauging themselves against how you judge improvements against the top teams. They've lost by an aggregate score of 6-0. And, like, I'm looking at the fixture list, and obviously the Liverpool fan praying any slip up by Manchester City. And I see Spurs are away to the Etihad in mid-February. And I'm kind of like, that could be a game where they could drop points. But, like, I know straight away that they won't. Like, I already know that that's going to be chalked down to 2 or 3-0 Manchester City win, unless something happens that I don't expect. And this is why I still don't think Tottenham will get top 4 this season.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think the problem with United, Arsenal and Spurs, the 3 of them are exactly the same. They're exactly the same teams. They'll do well against teams below them, but they'll lose to each other and they'll lose to the teams ahead of them easily. Chelsea have wiped the floor with Spurs the last while without even getting out of second gear.
Yeah.
Chelsea are a good side. They're conservative. They have their own problems. They don't really seem to have a plan B. They had to go to City and win. They just sat in and did nothing. He probably got the team wrong that day. Spurs have only beaten Chelsea once in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge. That was in 2018, I think it was, 2018 or 2019. Look, that's it. They're a stronger side than most. Spurs done well. Harry Kane had that goal ruled out. As soft as it looked, it was right. I don't know how I missed Matt Doherty playing the full 90. Actually, I watched the game.
I
as
thought
well,
maybe you just didn't want to mention Spurs.
Yeah, I try not to mention them anyway. But I watched the game. Look, I mean, I don't think it's Matt. I think it's just the team. They're not. I still think they'll sneak the top 4 though ahead of the other 2, because I think they'll just win more of the games they should win than the other 2, and that's the simple thing. You look at Arsenal on Sunday, 0-0 with Burnley at home. I'm not taking away from Burnley. Great performance from them, considering they haven't played in about 6 months. But that's obviously sarcasm. But yeah, look, Arsenal's problems is that they need a striker, and the 3 of them are just exactly the same. It's like they all don't want top 4, but I still think Conte will get Spurs top 4. I don't know why. I just think he will. I just think he's a very good manager. That's it. Yeah. Well, that rounds up the Premier League anyway. Do you want to run through the Championship for the weekend, and I can do the midweek?
Because there was a good bit of action as well midweek. Obviously, so many games in hand because of the post-moment over the last couple of weeks with COVID. So we'll start with the weekend. James Collins got his 3rd goal of the season, but still wasn't enough for Cardiff. They lost 3-2 away to Bristol City. There's a name for that derby. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but
it's similar to the Brighton and Crystal Palace one. It's something. It's a random thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's because they're kind of separated by a river or such, or there's a river halfway between them, or something else like that. Like so.
Something odd.
Yeah, geographically, they're actually not that far from each other either as well. That's also his 2nd goal of this month. He previously scored on New Year's weekend against West Brom, and he got 6 out of 10 rating from Wales Online. A superbly taken headed goal, and he gave a little spring in his step, a decent outing from the striker. Mark McGuinness was also in action for the Bluebirds in this game. He also got an identical rating of 6 out of 10. And to complete the 6 out of 10s, Callum O'Dowda, this time on the Bristol City side, the Bristol Post, giving him the exact same figure as well. Feste Epicelli and Jason Knight were both on the losing side as Derby fell short against local rivals Nottingham Forest 2-1 away. Derby Telegraph gave Knight a 6 out of 10 rating, saying he battled away, but it was tough for Derby's midfield in the second half. Epicelli got a slightly lower rating of 5 out of 10. Flashes of his power and pace in the first half, but only flashes replaced after an hour. Ryan Manning was the hero for Swansea as he got the only goal in their 1-0 victory at home against Preston, also the first time as well. Similar to ourselves, full stadium back at the Liberty Stadium since pre-Christmas. Cyrus Christie also featured for the Swans. Of course, that's Manning's 2nd goal of the season. And both himself and Christie came in for solid praise from Wales Online, both getting 8 out of 10 ratings. On the losing side there for the Preston North End contingent, there was Alan Brown, Greg Cunningham, and Joe Raftery. Brown and Raftery both getting Cunningham and Raftery both getting 5 out of 10 ratings. Alan Brown slightly more praise with a 6 out of 10. Callum Robinson and Jason Lumby both came on for the last 15 minutes for West Brom, during which time Callum Robinson had an immense impact in this game, claiming 2 assists as the Baggies won 3-0 at home to Peterborough. I think the score was actually 0-0 at the time. The Birmingham Mail gave Malumbi a 6 out of 10 rating, while Robinson got a 7 out of 10 rating. Jack Taylor, the full 90 minutes, and Sammy Smaddox came on midway through the second half for the Peterborough contingent, with the Peterborough Telegraph giving Taylor a 5 out of 10 rating. John Egan and Conor Horan, both 90 minutes, and Dave McGoldrick 8 minutes, were part of the Sheffield United team that bet Luton Town 2-0 at Bramall Lane. Jordan Shipley got his first goal of the season for commentary. He's really flying it with them over the last kind of couple of weeks. He's worked his way into his team and he's making a big impact. But it wasn't enough, unfortunately, on this occasion, as they still lost 2-1 at home to QPR, where for the victorious side on that day, Jimmy Dunn played every second for the West London outfit. Shipley still came in for a very, very strong rating, as I mentioned, from the Commentary Telegraph, getting 8.5 out of 10 rating, saying slower in thought and movement than his midfield opponents, won a few headers, but a little else of merit. So going by that, I don't know how he got an 8.5 rating. I think there might have been a mistype there, and he was substituted. But in general, he has been playing very well the last couple of weeks. Maybe someone for Stephen Kenny to look out for in March. While West London Sport gave Dunn a 7 out of 10 rating, saying a few too many hurry clearances which pushed his side under pressure once or twice, but otherwise it was a tactically committed display from the young Irishman as Rangers held firm in the last 15 minutes. Probably one of the results of the weekend was Hull winning away to Bournemouth, and Sean McLaughlin was part of the Tiger side as they recorded an impressive victory over Mark Trevor's Bournemouth. And the Hull Daily Mail gave McLaughlin their man of the match with a 9 out of 10 rating, saying, like his comrades, McLaughlin had a difficult first half, but the second half was colossus again. And again is in a separate paragraph. So they are really loving him up there in South Yorkshire. While Dorset Live gave Mark Travers a 7 out of 10 rating, saying he was good. And again, another sentence, again. So he's not certainly getting any criticism for that defeat. Just a few more bits now from the weekend. Richard Keogh, Blackpool, and Dan McNamara, Millwall, both played 90 minutes as the former bet the latter 1-0 at home. So a good win there for Blackpool. Alongside giving Keogh a 9 out of 10 rating, saying one of his best performances in a Blackpool shirt. So again, another Irish player who had a strong performance at the weekend, albeit if Keogh isn't really someone who's going to be on Stephen Kenny's radar. News at Den gave McNamara 6.4 out of 10 rating. Scott Hogan scored for the second time in 3 games as Birmingham City bet Barnsley 2-1 at home. Birmingham Mail gave him a 6 out of 10 rating, saying trademark Hogan, at times engaged and dangerous, as others reactive on his heels, in the right spot for his goal with a better delivery, might have had more. And finally, the Monday night game, Darragh Lenihan of Blackburn and Aaron Connolly and Middlesbrough both faced each other as Blackburn recorded another win, this time 1-0 at home, and another man who got strong reviews from his local media outlet, this time the Lancs Live, with a 9 out of 10 rating, saying poor Connolly didn't stand a chance of winning anything in the air, and the Ford resulted to assaulting him in a bid to topple the Rovers captain, dominated once more and decisive on the last line defence time and time again. And again, that's kind of reflected in the T-sides Gazette's rating of Aaron Connolly, just giving him a 5 out of 10 rating, saying ball just couldn't stick with him. Some things were unfortunate and just didn't come off him. Other times he was frustrated and rushed things when he could have taken a control to the ball. So just before you get the ball rolling with midweek, a lot of positive reviews to take away from that there. Paul, that will already at this early stage ahead of March be possibly flickering a couple of light bulbs inside Stephen Kenny's head.
Yeah, definitely. Darragh Lenihan has been consistently good for the last while so far. Anyway, he'll definitely be involved. Anyway, whether he'll play or not is another thing. He might get a cap against Lithuania, but I'd say they might play the full side against Belgium. Sean McLaughlin, fantastic again. I mean, Hull sacked their manager, Grant McCann, during the week. Anyway, they've had 2 cracking results. And they played well against Everton in the Cup as well. I know Everton are struggling at the minute, but like that was live as well. I I think they sacked them because new owners came in or something. I'm not sure what the case was there, but I know they're 19th. But they've been brilliant the last couple of weeks. They beat Blackburn, who hadn't been beaten since November, and I know Bournemouth they're faltering, but like they're still second, and that's a good result. They're not second anymore. They were on Saturday, so yeah, two fantastic ratings there. Mark Trevor is brilliant again. Has been all season, really, to be honest. And yeah, positive stuff. Ryan Manning's goal was a cracker as well. I don't know if you saw an absolute cracker, yeah. But yeah, we move on into midweek, and the positives continue as well, like you mentioned. Where are we? Sorry, I lost it there for a second. Oh, I went backwards. My bad. On Tuesday, Scott Hogan got his third goal in the last 4 games, so he scored again as Birmingham came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 with Peterborough at St Andrews. Probably a disappointing result, really, but good for Scott Hogan. He's hitting a bit of form at the right time.
Yeah.
Jack Taylor and Sammy Schmodix both played for Peterborough in that one as well. Another clean sheet for Jimmy Dunn and Sawyers Christie and Ryan Manning as QPR and Swansea drew 0-0. Michael Obafemi played in that as well. So 0-0 at Loftus Road there. Probably a fair result. Both are decent sides. Championship on Wednesday. Preston North End beat West Brom at the Hawthorns. Clean sheet for Greg Cunningham there as well. Alan Brown, Sean Maguire, Jason Malumbi, Taylor Gardner-Hickman and Callum Robinson were all off the bench in that one for Preston. A great win for Preston at West Brom as well. West Brom are a very weird side. I don't know what it is. They don't seem to score enough goals, and when they do, they win by 1 or they draw 0-0 or get beaten easily. But they're still up there. I don't think they'll get promoted, but they're still up there. But they're an odd side. I don't know what to make of them, to be honest. Yeah, that's the champ. That's all I've got from the championship anyway. From midweek, there was a couple of lads who played as well, but again, not much happened there. I'll rally through League One anyway now quickly.
I just have a few more bits there from the championship in midweek as well. Of course, Jordan Shippey was again part of the commentary team that got back to winning ways this time. They bet Stoke 1-0. He got a 7.5 rating from the Commentary Telegraph. And I'm not sure, did you mention the Bristol City Luton match there?
I didn't. No.
Yeah, Callum O'Dowd played 75 minutes at that contest for Bristol City. He got a 5 out of 10 rating from Bristol Post, so not the best of afternoon for him. And Glenn Ree played the full 90 minutes for Luton Town. That was actually his first action since the 30th of October, so the eve of Halloween. So he's waited a long time for game time. And just to continue on what you're saying from that Birmingham-Peterborough game, Jack Taylor, 7.5 rating from Peterborough today, saying a welcome return to form from the midfielder. So a strong performance from him. Could be someone again that could be worth throwing him in there, get him a cap for the Lithuania game, see what he's about. Like, he's risen up through the football period sharply the last 2 or 3 years. But it's not that long ago he was playing non-league football, got signed by Peterborough, they get promoted, and even though Peterborough are really struggling in championship this season, he's having a pretty good season by all accounts. And Scott Hogan got the Birmingham Live man of the match. That's now 3 goals and 4 for him, so he's doing really, really well. I don't have anything from Scotland, so maybe if I run through League 1 and League 2, and then I'll let you finish out the show with Scotland and the few other bits as well.
Yeah, definitely. No bother. Work away.
So League 1 and League 2. League 1 is a little bit more action-packed. Again, there was a couple of games here in midweek, rearranged fixtures from the last couple of weeks. Will Keane, he just literally cannot stop scoring at the moment. He got a brace as Wigan won a 5-goal thriller against Gillingham on Saturday. I think that's now 15 or 16 league goals for him this season. He's doing really, really well. I think it's possible that even if Wigan don't get promoted, which I think they will, he probably will get the move himself up to a higher tier next season. Anthony Scully got an assist as Lincoln bet Plymouth 2-1 away on Saturday. And then the only other little bit of news I have from the weekend is Anthony O'Connor got the first of Morecambe's 3 goals as they twice came behind to beat Wycombe 3-2 on Saturday. That's his second goal of the season. So plenty of drama and excitement and goals in League 1 at the weekend. But I'm saving the best for last. Wait till you hear about this when they talk about instant reaction. I can tell by the way you're nodding your head, you know what's coming. So 81 minutes on the clock. Fleetwood Town 3-1 down against Plymouth. Not been a good couple of days for Plymouth at all. As we mentioned, they lost to Lincoln. Well, they conceded twice in the last 9 minutes this game to draw dramatically 3-3. And Anthony Pilkington was introduced when the game was 3-1 in the 81st minute. And he goes on to have an unbelievable impact because he got a goal and an assist. He also got a 90th minute winner for them only a couple of weeks ago before. So He's someone who's having a very, very good dry, a very, very good January. I was going to say he's not having a dry January. He's having, well, I suppose I don't know what phrase you could say, but a glorious January anyway. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'd definitely saved the best bit of information for League One there for last. Do you have anything else to add from League One, Paul?
I don't think so. No. That was the last one I got. You've got just Wes Houlihan played the full 90 minutes
Yeah, I
again
seen
in
that.
1-0 win over Crew. Now, he didn't do anything, but Cambridge are having some season, and he's just preparing for next week's game against, who are they playing? Luton Town. They're playing Luton in the FA Cup 4th round at home as well. So, look, hopefully he'll get a couple of minutes in that. I think he'd still probably be the best player on the pitch against a good Luton side who've done well the last couple of weeks as well. But yeah, fantastic to see. The man doesn't age, as we've said before.
And that game is also on the box on Saturday evening, the 5th of February as well, 5:30 kickoff time. I wouldn't be surprised if they schedule it around to make sure that he starts that game, like that he mightn't play. I don't know if they're playing
They
midweek
probably
or not,
are
but
playing midweek, I'd say.
yeah, so they might maybe
yeah.
not even, they might bother not, because I know at this stage he's saying he's only able to play one game a week, so they might maybe just give him a run out on Saturday, don't bother with the midweek game, or even if it's a case of not playing midweek, still we won't start to Saturday, try and keep you as fresh as possible, because I think that's a winnable game for them against Luton, who are struggling in the Championship, and a man like him who will be no shortage to the big occasion. Finally,
Yeah.
from League Two, as always seems to be the case, not really much action or involvement going on here. Just two bits of information to tell you. Alan Judge got an assist in Colchester's 3-0 win over Salford away from home on Saturday. And Sean McLaughlin got a goal and assist in Mansfield's 3-1 win over Barrow. That brings him up to 4 goals and assists for the season. And Stephen Quinn actually got the assist for his goal. Massive Irish contingent in Mansfield. You're looking for a neutral team to follow in League Two. They are the team. As I mentioned, Sean McLaughlin, Stephen Quinn, John Joe O'Toole, another former Ireland underage international, and Harry Charsley. Charsley, sorry, is his surname?
Charsley, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good Irish contingent there at Mansfield.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic stuff. Good to see so much involved. And Stephen Quinn, there's a man I hadn't heard of in a while, but fair
Not
play
that
to him
old
on
either.
that one. Exactly. Well,
just dogged by injuries, yeah.
Yeah, when he was playing for Sheffield United for a good while, but he always looked far younger than, say, the likes of Chris Morgan and a couple of other lads as well.
Chris
Sheffield
Morgan
United.
just looks like an angry, ugly man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sure, with Sheffield United, he got relegated 2 times to League One and was still with them. So I'd say he was just sick of it at that stage. And I think they lost the playoff final when he was there as well. So
that's right. I think that was
two playoffs. They lost the Championship one to Burnley, and they lost to Huddersfield in League One as well.
Yeah, the one that went to like 12-13 on penalties or something, wasn't it?
It went to the goalkeepers, and
yeah,
I think
remember that.
Sheffield United one buried it over the bar.
Yeah,
I actually have a mate who's a Huddersfield fan. He was at that. He said it was like 35 degrees that day.
For some reason it stretches out in the mind that some was just baking down hot watching it, and then obviously baking down hot in Wembley for some reason. Sure, it would have been the end of May, so you usually are due for a good kind of heat wave as we head into leaving cert weather, as we say.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. That's that. I was doing my junior cert that year, so that too,
That's actually true. Yeah, so it would have been just before the Euros, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Euros, they were fun. I remember being in the pub the day before. I think it was like my maths junior cert exam. I wasn't drinking, but like they got beaten by Croatia on the
Allegedly,
Sunday.
you weren't drinking.
Yeah, I was.
It's all right, Paul. We've all been in the pub drinking as 16-year-old before junior cert. It's grand. Like,
we had a bit of crack anyway. That's all I'll say. I didn't go home till late, but yeah, we'll move on into Scotland anyway. Scottish Cup action on the weekend. Liam Scales grabbed an assist, and Connor Salmon scored in the same game as well as Celtic beat Alloa Athletic in the Scottish Cup. That's the only bit of action I got from the Scottish Cup. Very hard to find much information from that. Jays Cabia grabbed a double in Falkirk's win away at East Fife. He's gone on loan there. I think it was his debut. I think so. Yeah. Got a double. Fair play to him. Well capable for that level as well. Obviously, I saw him playing for Shells a lot. You did yourself too. Luke O'Connell grabbed an assist as Queen's Park drew 1-1 at Clyde. Good for Luke O'Connell. There was a name I have a memory of. David Goodwill, he scored for Clyde. Do you remember him? Yeah. I was looking at it. I was like, was he at Blackburn or something a while ago? What a name, by the way, as well. Fantastic. But
next, you're going to tell me Matt Derbyshire's playing the lower leagues of Scotland.
Did you remember he went to Greece or something? And
Olympiacos,
like,
yeah.
he was doing well with Blackburn. He's like, I'll go off to Greece, It's him and Colin Kazim Richards. They're very similar to me. I know he's at Derby now as well. I think it's the longest he stayed at a club was when it was with Derby. Scotland as well. We go to midweek. There's league action from last night. Last night on Tuesday, Conor Ronan grabbed the winner against Aberdeen as St Mirren won 1-0. Jamie McGrath, Alan Power, Joe Shaughnessy, and Charles Dunn all played in that as well. A great win for St Mirren after Stephen Glass, I think he's the Aberdeen manager, was criticising Jamie McGrath, saying he wouldn't be up to standard to play for Aberdeen. Well, I think Aberdeen would want to get motivated after losing to St Mirren there as well. Don't be chatting shit. Excuse me. Don't be chatting before you play the match.
Sure, you might as well say it now. Chat shit, get banged.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie Vardy told us, and we
Yeah.
didn't listen, and then they won the league. So that's it. We know the story there. Clean sheet for Dan Cleary and Ryan Sweeney in the 0-0 draw between St Johnstone and Dundee there. That's it. That's all I have from Scotland from the week anyway. James McCarthy came on last night for Celtic, but it was due to an injury. He was only on towards the end of the game to help them get the result against Hearts. Hearts actually missed a penalty late on in that as well. We go to Europe anyway. 2 bits of information on Josh Cullen. He played the full 90 in both games. First against KV Mechelen for Anderlecht. They won that 1-0 on the weekend. And then last night they were beaten 2-0. I'm not sure. They were beaten by Cercle Bruges 2-0 last night. If they had won last night, they would have gone second with results going their way. But fortunately not to beat. I think they got a red card early on. But unfortunate stuff for them there. One bit of information from Australia. Jay O'Shea's Brisbane Roar were beaten 3-1 by Adelaide United. They still have no win and 2 points from the first so-and-so games. I think they've had a load of games called off because of COVID over there. And you mentioned Ryan Johansson before we started. He played a couple of minutes for
Fortuna Sittard.
Fortuna Sittard against Valjvik or something.
I'm going by the Google Translate version of Warwick. They lost the game 2-1. I think he only came on for the last handful of minutes. It's been a big struggle for Fortuna Sittard this season. They are in the depths of a relegation battle in the Dutch area division.
Yeah. And
you haven't got into watching the A-League on a Saturday morning yet, have you?
Man, I don't be up. I do be knackered.
I've been watching Australian sport this weekend now, but that'll be the tennis. I always watch. It's always a tradition I like to watch and get up on the weekend and watch the Australian Open finals. So should be interesting, of course, with a home. I haven't really been following it, but I know they have a home native in the women's final. So I suppose it'll be good kind of morale there for that one. But no, I haven't quite got into the A-League. Used to watch them work. Back in the days when I used to be in Betdaq, but don't work Saturday mornings anymore, so I don't really see the interest, I suppose, in watching it as such.
Fair enough. Sure, as I said, most of the games are getting called off from what I can see anyway, so you're not missing much anyway. One other small bit of information comes from the Africa Cup of Nations. Obviously, unfortunately, Cape Verde were knocked out by Senegal, and Roberto Lopez went off at halftime. I think he was struggling with food poisoning. I think it was through the Cape Verde camp. Anyway, he went off at halftime. They got a couple of red cards in that as well, Cape Verde, and beaten 2-0. Still a good performance from Roberto and Cape Verde there as well. Senegal, I mean, they're not the most expansive teams. It takes the other team losing 2 players for them to even get a goal. They're the first 2 goals since the 97th minute in the opening game for them. So, look, unfortunate for Roberto, but what an experience.
Yeah, and he's come away from this tournament with an awful lot. I think if you offer Cape Verde, probably without knowing an awful lot of African football, but I think if you offer them progression to the knockout stages, I think they would have taken it. I think it's similar to Euros now. It is 24 teams, so it is that little bit easier to get there. But it was their debut tournament. They've done really well. He's come away from a lot of praise. And if I was a Shamrock Rovers fan right now, I'd be sweating a little bit that he could possibly be on the way out the door, because he is attracting a nice bit of interest, which is great and fantastic to see. Look, we only have to see the news that broke there earlier in the week, was James Abankwah signing for Udinese. Unbelievable. He's literally only just, I think, turned 17, 18 years of age. Obviously coming back to Pats for the season, but you've obviously probably know more than myself, seen him a couple of times live this season. You know, to look at him physically, he's very much all there already. He's probably bigger than a lot. I'd say, you know, to take someone like Dara Burns, Ben McCormack, who are a couple of years older than him, he's even well more physically advanced than him. Still has a good bit of learning from the game to do, so definitely no harm from his own point of view. He's been loaned back to patch the season, but obviously, personal point of view, I'm delighted as well. And it's fantastic and great to see. I'm not saying Borja Lopez will head down the same direction, but you're playing international football. There's a lot of eyes, a lot of scouts will be exposed to the African Cup of Nations. Could get a decent move for himself out for, and Shamrock Rovers fans, maybe more so. I think during the summer, I wouldn't be surprised if he's possibly not in Tala any longer. Now, look, I suppose he is heading to 30 years of age. Maybe personal factors might play an influence, but yeah, done very well. It's not too often I like to praise anyone associated with Shamrock Rovers. I actually had to drive past their ground today, and there you got sick out the car, to be honest, or the van, I should say.
Fair enough. I think that's it. We've covered everything. Fantastic stuff, Ger, as always. Top stuff. And hopefully it's a quick international break, even though it's a mini one. Hopefully it's a quick one and we're back to normal with the FA Cup fourth round next week, not including
We'll still have a bonkers one next week because there's still championship. Let's be brutally honest. We're not going to be talking about 3 players. That's all. No Premier League action.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's just... I don't mind. I'll be watching the champ. I know Derby and Birmingham are on Sunday as well. There's loads of Irish involvement there, so I'll definitely be having a look at that. But yeah, you know yourself. It's just something about international breaks. Like I'm even looking at there. Brazil and Argentina are already qualified. They've got 2 games. I mean,
they still have to play each other, don't they? From that game that was abandoned.
Yeah. That's mad that they're
bonkers.
a game less and they're both already qualified as well. Like I don't know, but yeah, fantastic stuff as always, Ger. Thanks very much. And thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully see you again next week. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Ger.